was wrong and who was right? Tyler, Tiwa Savage, Nigeria, South Africans, African Americans? What is going on? Now, if you're here for the very first time, please don't forget to like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell. This video will delve deeper into all these matters. One thing about me, I'm not going to come with a fast track answer and jump on the trend and just give that surface level answer. I will give a deeper answer on all these matters. Yeah. Now, as some of you might know, I'm a millennial. Yeah. I'm old. I'm not that old. I'll tell you my age. I don't care. I'm 35 years old. But one thing about me, I've been following African entertainment for so many years. I'll say for 15 years. 15 years. So you know that sometimes I'm the right person to talk about certain things. Now, I have been following Tiwa Savage's journey from when she started. I know the obstacles that she has faced, almost being a minority, a female in a male-dominated industry, being belittled. The door has been shut on her multiple times, and just her getting criticized every single time in the media in Nigeria. I'm not Nigerian, but I know that the Nigerian media was harsh. It was really, really harsh for her. People have complained. I was also one of those people who complained, and I said, is it that Tiwa Savage is the only Nigerian mainstream female artist to break out? I know Yemi Alade also broke out, but we were talking about, she's older. So she was one of the OG people. Why was she the only person? I believe even Bonang tweeted something about it back in the day, you know. And this is something that she couldn't be helped with. Tiwa Savage always received the blame for certain things that actually this was how the industry was designed. It's not her fault. I also knew about the issue that she was going through with in her marriage, and the scrutiny that she deserved just because of her ex-husband's behavior. The man basically cheated on her, used powder, mismanaged her own money. So she went through hell in that interview. When this man called Tiwa out in the media, dragged her, saying that she slept with the whole industry, she came out to defend herself and basically explain what happened in the marriage. She got dragged for it, and it wasn't her fault. Then from her having issues with some of the female artists, which is Victoria Kimani and Shei, and the argument that she had with them because they wrote this song on her.
My African bad girl, turning 45, still think that you can block me from a show, but can't block your blessings. We all know you selling pussy and it's so depressing. Whoa. Say you be my sister, but you won't collect my lover. You be deceiver, olofofo hati roba. Now I know they fuck with you anymore. I no get time for you anymore. You know I'm not savage, I dey pay my bills. You know go see my name for the SK.
You know, so I just know the things that she went through. Cut a long story short, I've been listening to Tiwa Savage for so many years. She's very, very talented. And I'll say that she is also one of the pioneers. She should be mentioned with the big three because she really laid that foundation there. She really did her best, and she had to go through all of that. Yeah. Now, her latest album is something that's very new to the listeners because they're used to her Afrobeat vibe. Even though they know that she has an R&B background, but a whole R&B album, and she's independent now, that is a bit of a challenge, but no problem. She went on media press, and I like that she was very honest about her life, because that's what it is. Some people might criticize her and say, oh, you're just exposing too much. She is promoting her album, so of course she has to be honest, she has to be blunt as possible. Yeah. And so I've watched the Breakfast Club interview. This was prior to the whole issue that happened with Tyler, when it really spread like wildfire. So I watched the whole interview, and I will just say that, you know, for Tiwa, I just sometimes don't like how she came across in the press. I felt that she was almost dismissing Afrobeat as a genre. You're one of the people who contributed to it, and I think you should be proud to showcase Afrobeat. Now, I have no problem with her going the R&B route, but it's almost like it's the way the press tour is coming off. It's almost like she's throwing Afrobeats to the side. That's how it comes across. When you're saying that your hit records that you sang were songs you hated so much, even though I was here for the tea, but it's like those songs kind of made you successful. Second of all, Lauren asked her, what do you think about your fans, your loyal Afrobeat fans? And she said, my real fans, they know what's up. Anybody else, they can basically go to hell. And I'm like, girl, why the hell are you saying it? At the end of the day, people really supported you, and then that's what you say. And then also, third of all, her saying that she feels she cannot really express herself properly in Afro beats, and she has to do it through R&B because she has to sing from the soul. Which, okay, it's her opinion. She feels how she can feel. She's talking from a personal perspective. But if somebody gets the whole image, they're thinking you're pandering. Yeah, no problem. I'll get to the Tyler bit, so you guys stay tuned. I'm just giving a deeper side of the interview. Then we get to the sex tape, which was another one. Everybody is shocked that you didn't press charges, and I'm not going to lie. Somebody who violated you, and also they asked her, did you know you were filmed? She said no. I watched that sex tape back then. The camera was basically in her face, but okay. No judgment. We don't know what's up. We don't know why she didn't want to press charges. It's up to her. And I understand that she had to talk about the sex tape, but listen, that's something that you put behind you. It's not something that you actually need to brag about. Saying that if I wanted to sex tape, I would have gotten better lightning. Oh, did you guys Google the sex tape? You know, at the end of the day, I know I've shaved and my mom wasn't angry with me. She just said, oh, I'm happy you got some. Girl, why are you bragging about that freaking sex tape? It's not a flex. And this is the reason why some people thought that you did that sex tape for PR, even though I think it wasn't for PR, and I probably think that it was a bet. Yeah? Word on the street is that it was Davido's friend who placed a bet. That's just word on the street. But I won't go deep into that. Okay? I'm just talking more about how Tiwa image is with the press. Some things of the interview I really understood. Now let's get to the main part, which is the Tyler part. Yeah, and they asked this towards the end of the interview because Charlemagne said that we're being roasted and they're blaming us on why Tyler's EP flopped, etc., etc. Then she said, oh, okay. So then Lauren put her on the spot and she said, how do you think Tyler actually handled it, or how the whole thing is? So this is word for word what Tiwa Savage said. Tiwa said that Tiwa said, I know in her country she's not considered black. She's considered colored because she's mixed. Yeah, and I know that this word holds a heavy weight in the US because of the past and everything that black people had to endure based on that word, segregation and all that. And she just feels like she feels bad for her, like especially how she was in that situation and how you people kind of came for her. Like I said, this is what Tiwa said, but she said that yeah, it did not really appear that well. But she said where I'm from, which is Tiwa Savage, her Yoruba culture, she said you know, as an elder, you know, you kind of want to apologize on behalf of this. And so when she said that, I said, when she said that, I just knew it's over for her. I knew it was over because, first of all, I know that Tiwa was put in a difficult position. She didn't actually want to answer it. Now, she was very open in that interview, so they expected her to talk about it. But if I was Tiwa, I would have just said, no comment, next question. It's okay to say that. It doesn't mean that you're being dismissive, because this is a very complicated issue, yeah? And I felt like she answered to please Americans. That's how she answered it. she answered it to please Americans, or she wanted to just be neutral. Let's just say she wanted to appear neutral. Yeah, and it kind of backfired, because let me tell you something. In this type of argument, you cannot please anybody. Yeah, you cannot please South Africans and you cannot please Black Americans. And I'll tell you why. If she has any doubt and she doesn't really know the history and she doesn't know anything whatsoever, also because she's from a different country, such a thing is not known. She will just say that, listen, I'm from Nigeria, she's from South Africa. South Africa is very, very different from Nigeria based on their racial classification. I don't think I'm the best person in this position to answer it. I'll just say that if I were her, I would say that maybe the message that maybe Tyler put after the statement that Tyler posted after her interview, maybe that's just something that she could have, articulated in the interview. That's if you want to give an opinion. Maybe that's what she should have said, but maybe she was overwhelmed, in that situation and all that stuff. That's it, if you want to say it, because something like this opens a can of worm. I saw the backlash. South Africans were not happy because they're like, you're not in that position to speak for us. We're Africans, and we are Africa. We're a massive continent. Massive continent with 53 countries. It's the most diverse continent in the world. Multiple language, multiple ethnic groups, multiple races. Let's just say it like that. But I'm now going to talk about South Africa from my perspective. Yeah. South Africa's case is a different case. Let's say compared to the whole of Africa. The whole of Africa's one is quite straightforward. We have indigenous African people. That's just how it is. When it comes to South Africa, when it comes to Namibia, even Zimbabwe to an extent, theirs is a bit different. Yeah. I'll say that South Africa's case is the most unique one, and I'll compare South Africa to another Dutch colony called Suriname. Most people don't know the country Suriname. It's in South America, and it's next to English Guyana. It's in between, I think Brazil, Venezuela. It's there. They actually call it Dutch Guyana. It's a bit similar to South Africa's almost racial makeup. And funny enough, these places both have Dutch influence. And I'll explain it why. Yeah. In Suriname, for example, you have people who they classify as Java people, Indonesians. You have Indonesian Surinamese, you have Hindustani Surinamese, who are the Surinamese of Indian ethnicity. You have the African Surinamese, black people. Due to slavery, they took them there. You have the mixed race too. You have the mixed race people too. You have the Amerindians too. So they also have a variety in the racial makeup. It's not only South Africa. In countries too, like let's say Dominican Republic, Cape Verde, you have a lot of mixed race people there due to their history and all that stuff. Yeah. And it's generational. It's a long story. From my point of view, how I knew of colored, to be honest, I always knew that, South Africa is a bit of a diverse country. But me, from my lens, when I was young, I always saw South Africa as black, white, nothing in between, until with time I learned about it. I learned especially about the Indian one. They took, I think it was the British people. The British people were known for taking Indian laborers to build some of their former colonies. They did it in East Africa. They did it in South Africa. They did it even in South America. So that's why you have Indian Guyanese, Indian Trinidadians. So there's almost a similarity of history of that. That's what they did with South Africa. Yeah. Then we have coloreds. Coloreds make up also of, let's say, Cape Malay. Most of them are in the Cape area, and you also have them in Namibia. But in South Africa, there are also differences in the colored, yeah? And you have the Durban colors, and you have the Cape coloreds. Even though the Cape coloreds are the majority, Cape Coloureds, most of them, they speak Afrikaans, which is a Dutch language, yeah. But when it comes to, let's say, Durban Coloureds, which I think that's where Tyler actually come from, it's usually English, and then sometimes they speak Zulu too. They don't speak Afrikaans. So even that one, there's also a difference. I don't expect people to learn about this, but you know, I've done my research. I came across the first colored person when I was watching Big Brother Africa back then. There was this lady called Abigail Platjes. That was her name, and they also put her in some Nollywood movies. So that's how I came across her, because I'm like, oh, okay, she's South African. Is she South African or Namibian? Is she South African or Namibian? Abigail Platjes. And then from there on, because I listened to AKA's music, I knew AKA was also colored. So I said, okay, let me look deep into it. So I'm not going to delve deep into it, but I kind of understand the racial dynamic. It is very, very unique. Even though I don't agree with certain things, like I said, because at the end of the day, it's the white person that made this rule. You know, they made up this racial segregation. But you know what? It's not my place to speak about it. I can have an opinion, because I knew how, I kind of knew how the Dutch, I kind of know a little bit more about Dutch history. Let's just say that, and the influence they kind of had. They and the Portuguese were the original invaders. I'll just put it like that. They even did it in my country, Ghana, before even English people did it. You know, my country got colonized like what, 3 times. You know, so they are the OG colonizers. So that's the whole thing. Like I said, this thing is still a foreign concept, even within Africa, you know, because this doesn't really happen in other African countries, except for the ones that I've mentioned. Usually, the only mixed person you have is somebody who is biracial. They have a direct black parent, a direct white parent, but not mixed race whatsoever. Yeah. So, like I said, if you have doubts, and I understand that Tiwa has been to South Africa, she has collaborated with South African artists, her music distribution was even from South Africa, but I understand maybe she doesn't know deep into it. So if she knew better, she would have been just like this. I think maybe from her perspective, she thought that she was kind of calming down the situation and bridging the gap, but the problem is it will appear disrespectful. That's just what I want to say. It appears disrespectful because it seems like you're patronizing. You know, I don't think you and Tyler have a bond or any relationship whatsoever, yeah. And I understand, because it's like, okay, we're in the industry, I'm acting like a big auntie and all that stuff. But maybe let's just put it like this. For me, I'm more like everybody should just mind their business. But if maybe you want to be like, okay, a big auntie, you could have just maybe talked to her behind the scenes. But the thing is, you know, like I said, people should not be telling people what to do. You know, they're also an adult. I think this conversation died after Tyler released that statement. That's it. It actually died. She put that statement saying that in my country, I'm identified as colored. You know, and that's just how it is. That's because it's a different culture, different dynamic. Everything is different. You know, so, and it's also not nice because it's almost like taking away the experience of actual black people. You know, everybody has their own experience. I know that in America, I am considered a black woman or mixed race, because the thing is also, if Tyler is in America, if she has to fill in forms, they're not going to put a checkbox of colored. That's an outdated term in the USA. It's a word that is not, it's not the best. I think everybody has the right to do what they want. Black Americans said, listen, we're not comfortable with that. If this is what you want to do, it's fine. We're not losing sleep over it. It's just we're not going to support. And at the end of the day, you cannot force people. You know, people have options. The thing is, like I said, Tyler, I've said it before, she could have explained herself better in the Breakfast Club interview. The problem is that some people will say, but she already did it, she did it on one platform, you know, and at that time she wasn't super big. So now you're being exposed to new listeners, and sometimes journalists, that's what they do. They hear you saying something, but they just still want you to say it again. And also, knowing the Breakfast Club, they're controversial. That's what they do to everybody. That's what they do to everybody. So I just think that, again, Tyler and her team, they didn't try. I just have to put it down, because when I heard that they say don't ask six questions, at the end of the day, you're still an upcoming star. That was at that time, and she could have, I felt like if you say don't come with six questions, then don't even go to that interview, because you're not even a seasoned artist yet. It's giving a bit diva. That's what I felt even at that time. So, like I said, if they had any doubts about the Breakfast Club, they knew what kind of radio station it was. They shouldn't have gone there, because, like I said, it didn't really appear like a good look. If Tyler just mentioned what she said in that statement she provided, that would have been okay. And nobody is saying that she should change her race. It's just they say that they cannot use the word colored. In America, it's an outdated term. And it's a term that, funny enough, it's a term that was both named by, let's just say, the colonizers. I kid you not, in both countries. But again, each country with the way they do it. Now Tiwa is being cooked, and it's so sad because Tiwa is a legend, and Tiwa, you need to move a bit smart when it comes to these interviews. You're a legend, your brand should not be reduced to this. You need to appear a bit intelligent. The problem is that already South Africans kind of have beef with Tiwa, because I remember back then, Tiwa put out a tweet saying that she cancelled her concert to South Africa. She's not going to perform there due to xenophobic attacks, blah, 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 blah. That was already strike one. Then on top of that, Tiwa you ask Beyonce during the SARS protest that why is Beyonce not speaking up? I'm sorry, but I cringed during that time. Because I'm like, just because you were featured, she probably felt because she was featured on Beyonce's project. But I said, no, you don't do that. It's a bit unprofessional. And you have to know when to overstep your boundaries. I understand probably she was emotional, but that's your country issue. Beyonce doesn't get into political issues, not even in the USA. So why? So I'm just calling out all these things, where hopefully she's mindful. Now, I will say that my advice to Tiwa, like I said, maybe she did mean well. I don't think she meant anything maliciously, but I just felt she should have chosen her answer better. She should have chosen it better, because it's sad to see her being dragged. But again, it's something she should have avoided. You don't speak on a country's thing, because, other people will not like it. Imagine if I speak on behalf of Nigerians, or I apologize on behalf of Igbo people, and also, it just won't do. Yeah, so I understand maybe Tiwa was speaking from a cultural aspect, as an elder, but the thing is, you people are colleagues. You're in the entertainment industry. Sometimes you have to put those personal things on the side. You cannot please people, so I kind of I understand and how she felt. Now I will say for Tiwa, you also had South African fans. Let's just be honest. Some unfollowed you. Imagine you're a fan of somebody and only for them to do that. I know you mean well, but if I were you, Tiwa, me personally, I would just come out and just say that, listen, my intentions were good. My intentions were good, and maybe, yes, I should have maybe done some research. If I didn't know, I wasn't the person to speak for it. In no way was I taking Tyler's identity away from her. I will say that I apologize. My apology was more so on behalf of how it came across with the communication and everything, because that's what I actually thought it was. But again, the way some things can be miscrewed, it can just ruin it. So for consideration, to take accountability and just let it go. At the end of the day, what, it wasn't meant like that, but you apologize and you understand why it came across like that. In no way were you taking her identity. But again, that's just me. For anything, at least just to be considerate and all that. So yeah, guys, tell me what you think about it. This was a freaking long video. When it comes to history, your girl knows a bit of more history. I try to do my research. Each country is different. Each country has its different issues. And sometimes it's because of the past, how things have happened. It is what it is. For me, at the end of the day, it's all about respect. As long as everybody respects each other. Yeah? Because even in Africa, we have our issues too. You know, we have our issues. Each country is different. Yes, we have tribalism. Even some of the other people too, they kind of look down on even indigenous Africans. I'm just saying. I'll never forget about the Gandhi thing that ever since that, I even said there, my view of Gandhi chose a switch up when he came to South Africans. And of course, he had pity for his own people, Indians. I have no problem with that. But the way he was talking he was talking down on black people, I said no. Anyway, guys, tell me what you think about this video. And don't forget to like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Thank you. Bye.